Alright guys, I'm gonna record this real quick. I just got out of the shower. I'm actually about to head to bed, but I wanted to clear up some things from my last video. It definitely, oh god, my hair. definitely, definitely seems like sometimes people really don't pay too much attention to things that I say in my videos and just decide that they're gonna skip through and skim it and then comment on what little they've heard, or they hear from someone else what's in it and then they decide they're going to come correct me, what have you. Now, the most recent case of this going on is without a doubt my top movies of last year and top games of last year. Okay, guys, for those of you who apparently either did not hear or do not pay attention, I did not see every movie that came out last year. Okay, even some of the big blockbusters. Why? Because my town's theater is very small. This theater, all right, it only has two screens. Okay, so they can only have two movies at a time. A lot of times they try to keep the movies that they get to for 2 week periods. So like periods where you got movies coming out back to back. Sometimes they have to skip some, and then they wind up getting movies that came out earlier in the year that they hadn't been able to get before, and air those. So on and so forth. Things like that. So for me, I wanted to go see Skyfall. I almost got to go see Skyfall, but I didn't. What are you gonna do? And I've established this from the get-go. Had I seen The Hobbit, had I seen Skyfall, had I seen all these other movies that people bring up, yeah, you know what? They probably would have been on my list. In fact, I did manage to see Skyfall recently, and I'm not gonna lie, if I had seen it before I did that list, it probably would have been at number 3. But I didn't. So, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm sorry that I can't go see every single movie that ever comes out, okay? I'm sorry about that. Now, to move on to some things. Specifically the movies that I didn't like. Sorry. I had said that I would go into a little more detail about that because there were going to be some people who probably didn't like what I didn't like and wanted an explanation. So, Rises, though, I really don't want to touch on. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it several times. Every time I see it, I just see something new that they messed up on. There's a lot of holes in that movie. You really cannot just explain them away. And I'm sorry, but when you go from defending this point in the movie by saying it's more realistic, but then go to this point saying it's a comic book movie, you're expecting too much realism? Really? Alright. And yes, I know there are certain things that you have to give a movie a benefit of the doubt on. You had to do that in Begins and The Dark Knight, too. But the problem with this is, first of all, they were boasting that this was going to be the most realistic out of all of them. Second of all, he gets his back broken by a 2-foot knee drop and then falls 50 feet with a rope around his waist on a newly healed back, and it doesn't break his back. Or even hurt it. It's stuff like that. And the fact that somehow even missing cartilage in the knees and everything, and damaged shoulders, and even still swollen brain tissue is magically no longer a problem because of one leg brace. Oh God. Okay, well, moving on. I don't want to spend any more time on that. The Bourne Legacy. Honestly, apparently this one was a letdown for a lot of people. But yeah, it was a letdown for me too, and it's especially so because I was really looking forward to it. I liked the Bourne movies quite a bit, and I was really hoping that this one was going to be something along those lines. But really, what they did with it was just so beyond confusing. I had a hard time following it at times. They say that it's set during and after the events of the Bourne Supremacy, so like it's really weird. And then the climax when they send an agent to kill him, supposedly a new and improved version that's better than what they had with whatever the hell their project was again. Oh god. Anyway, yeah, new and improved version, anyways. And what happens? Nothing. It's a car chase, and that's that. No huge fight that I was expecting. The ending is just very lackluster. Major disappointment. Not what I expected from a Bourne movie. There wasn't really any tension in that ending. Nah. Just kind of anticlimactic. Prometheus. Now this one is because, first of all, I knew this thing was heading for trouble back when they were in development because, oh, it's the Alien prequel. Oh wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not even on the same planet as the first Alien movie, so it's not the prequel. But it is because of this. But then it isn't because of this. But they just kept going back and forth on whether or not it's an Alien prequel, and it is an Alien prequel, even though it isn't an Alien prequel. It makes no sense at all in that respect. I mean, you can tell what the thing at the end of the movie is, okay? But it's just stupid. It gets bogged down at times. I did never really feel the kind of tension or fear that I felt in Alien, and it really just felt the need to be kind of, how do I put this? Preachy, I guess. They were trying to make some sort of philosophical / religious / non-religious point that was weird. And I don't think they expressed it very well. And Cabin in the Woods, okay. First of all, I'm going to say this. I get meta horror, okay? I enjoyed Friday the 13th Part 6, which was meta. I enjoyed Scream, meta. This I did not enjoy. Because, see, for those movies, even though they were meta horror and they were self-aware that they were horror movies, they even kind of cracked jokes about the cliches within the movie. No. This... I mean, they had a sense of tension to them still. They had things about them that would still scare you. Cabin in the Woods, I did not get that sense. I mean, there were like 2 scenes that were remotely frightening or disturbing. I mean, even with Scream especially, there was still mystery to it. Who's doing this, whatever. It could be this person, could be that person. And while there were some, clear flags, and that's part of the joke, there was still some mystery to it, This, they just blow the whistle on you right away that there are people behind this. They pretty much, they give you very, very broad hints, not subtle ones, not like flags, nothing about why they're doing it. There's absolutely no tension as a result. They tell you what's going to happen before it happens. They comment on the events as they're watching. It's just so stupid. It is. It can't decide whether it wants to be a comedy or a horror movie. Heck, in fact, it can't decide whether it wants to be a horror movie or an office comedy. I mean, seriously, the comedic bits aren't in the fact that it's a self-aware horror movie. It's in the fact that, they're like stuck in this mundane office life, and killing these people is just like their day job, Yeah. And then when you get to the end and they do reveal it, it's just so out of left field, way, oh my god, it's like H.P. Lovecraft type stuff, and weird, stupidly done. Oh my god. I don't even know. Look, it was just so brainless to me, and really failed at what it was trying to do. Now, in another case of people who really do not listen to my videos before whining on them, I've had a lot of people complain about my video on Amazing Spider-Man 700 and say that, oh, I'm just mad because Peter died and they're trying to shake up the status quo with this. Well, let me point something out to you, okay? They already did that with this series. They tried. It failed. It was not well received. People did not want it shaken up like that. And no, it wasn't just because it was change. You know what? People just did not want specifically that change. Okay? That was not what they wanted to change. That was not the direction it needed to go. And frankly, they did not even do it to shake up the status quo. They only did it because Peter and Mary Jane's relationship wound up in limbo in the movies, which is what they constantly kept trying to alter the comics to follow and capitalize off of. They gave him the organic web shooters in the comics because of the movies. They did a lot of stuff like that because of the movies. They've done it with Iron Man because of the movies. They'll go back to an armor design or bring back a villain. Well, bring them back to prominence after they were pretty much a non-factor for a while. Captain America, they bring back Steve Rogers because they stupidly killed him too. But, oh my god, he's got a movie coming out, we gotta bring him back. And there he is. Through BS means. See, that's the thing though, the only reason that they do a lot of this stuff, it has nothing to do with shaking up the status quo. It's got everything to do with trying to capitalize off the movies. And people weren't stupid, and that's why they did not like it. But they kept trying to justify this. Oh, we had to do this. We had to break up his marriage because we had to have him make a deal with the devil, no less. Something that he would never do, because we needed to free him up to be able to tell more stories with him. Stories that also had him doing things that were completely out of character for him. Peter, for example, was never really the kind of guy who would just be friends with benefits with anyone. Even when he was kind of in relationship limbo for a while, and that's pretty much what Black Cat wanted, he said, no, I'm not like that. It's not the kind of guy he was. Yeah, there are other characters who are like that. Tony Stark was like that. Matt Murdock can be like that at times. There are characters who are willing to have that sort of relationship. Peter wasn't one of them. But they break up his marriage and then they stick him in exactly that kind of relationship. Meanwhile, he's kind of alternating on whether or not to even break it off to go after this other girl that he likes, conveniently named after Joe Quesada's daughter. It had nothing to do with the status quo. This is just Dan Slott, this too, trying to be controversial. And it's intentionally trying to be controversial. It's not something that, I think is going to make perfect. No, if he was leading up to this, then he cannot write. It is the final proof he cannot write. He even contradicted the fact that the Octobot can't even get into Ock's brain by having it beam through his armor anyway and project Peter's memories into his brain, thus making him be good. But even after that, he's not good, because guess what? In Avenging Spider-Man 15.1, after swearing over Peter's corpse that he'll be a better hero than he ever was, spends an entire issue getting a boner for Mary Jane, literally. Yeah, you get to experience that, isn't that nice? And belittling Peter and belittling his former appearance. And that's it. And now we have confirmation from Chris Yost that the first issue of Avenging Spider-Man, that's going to be a full issue starring Spider-Ock, the inferior Spider-Man, is he's going to be trying to steal stuff from the Baxter Building. Yep, he basically gets called in by the replacement Fantastic Four and he thinks they want him to lead the mission, and they say, no, we want you to babysit, basically. And he gets offended by that and basically decides that while I'm here, I'm going to help myself to Reed Richards' stuff. And they said that he's got a very specific goal in mind. So yeah, he's not completely straight here. And I know they say, they're just building up to this, they'll have him back in time for the next movie, and then he'll have to deal with the fallout of it. That's the problem, though. It's also the fact that you do know that he's going to get brought back, but they killed him in such a stupid way, and then he's going to be back. And frankly, this whole, I'm going to kill you, take your place, and be better than you ever were, it's Kraven's Last Hunt mixed with the Clone Saga, and it's just, we've been here before, and it's being handled worse. I mean, Kraven's Last Hunt was iconic. The Clone Saga had potential, but it was drug out way too long. And this is going to be the same thing all over again, only it's going to be a bastardized knockoff. And that's where the problem comes in. Oh well. You know what? People can just choose not to listen all they want, I guess. Anyways, that's it for tonight, and I'll catch you guys later.